What happens when chasing fame goes too far? Today, we're diving deep into the life of one of the most controversial internet personalities of recent years, Johnny Somali, a man who didn't just push boundaries, he shattered them. From viral live streams to international arrests, from internet fame to prison time. This is not just a story about a YouTuber. This is a story about attention, controversy, and consequences. Johnny Somali, whose real name is Ramsey Khalid Ismael, was born on September 26, 2000, in Phoenix, Arizona, United States. Growing up in America, Johnny lived a relatively normal life, at least on the surface. But even early on, there were signs of a complex and somewhat mysterious personality. Johnny made several unusual claims about his past. At different times, he said he was a former child soldier, a Somali pirate, born to a Somali father and Ethiopian mother. However, many of these claims were widely questioned and considered unreliable. This pattern, blurring truth and fiction, would later become a defining trait of his online persona. Johnny didn't start as a major influencer. In fact, his early YouTube presence was relatively small and unnoticed. But everything changed around 2023. That's when he entered the world of in-real-life live streaming, broadcasting his real-life actions in real time while traveling. At first, it looked like typical travel content. But very quickly, things took a different turn. Johnny Somali began traveling across different countries, especially in Asia. Countries like Japan, Thailand, South Korea, Israel, but instead of showcasing culture, food, or lifestyle, he focused on something else entirely: provocation. His streams often included harassing strangers, making offensive remarks, disrupting public spaces. And these actions were not accidents. They were intentional, designed to get reactions, views, and attention. One of the first major controversies happened in Japan. Johnny went viral after live streaming himself harassing people on public transportation. He shouted offensive comments, ignored social norms, and provoked locals. The result? Public outrage. And not just online. In some cases, people confronted him physically during his streams. He was eventually detained, fined, and heavily criticized. But instead of stopping, he doubled down. Johnny Somali started calling himself an internet troll. And unlike most creators, he didn't care about being liked. He cared about being talked about. This strategy worked. His clips went viral. People shared his content, sometimes out of anger, sometimes out of shock. But either way, he was getting attention. And in the world of social media, attention equals power. As his behavior escalated, platforms began to take action. Johnny Somali was banned from Twitch, banned from Kick, suspended from multiple streaming platforms. But he always found alternatives, moving from one platform to another, continuing his content, no matter the consequences. In 2024, Johnny traveled to Israel, and once again, controversy followed. He live-streamed himself at sensitive locations like the Western Wall. At one point, he was detained for allegedly harassing a police officer. Even after being released, he continued streaming, as if nothing had happened. But everything changed when Johnny Somali went to South Korea. This is where things went from controversial to serious. He performed multiple offensive acts, including disrespecting a historical memorial, Statue of Peace, playing loud music in public transport, causing disturbances in stores, harassing people during live streams. These actions sparked massive outrage, not just from the public, but from the government. In South Korea, Johnny became one of the most hated internet figures. People confronted him on the streets. Some even attacked him during live streams. Authorities began closely monitoring his activities, and legal action soon followed. Johnny Somali faced multiple charges, including obstruction of business, public disturbance, violations of minor crime laws, and even serious allegations related to digital misconduct. At first, he tried to defend himself, even claiming he didn't understand the cultural significance of his actions. But the damage was already done. In April 2026, a South Korean court delivered its verdict. Johnny Somali was sentenced to 6 months of prison labor, additional detention, and long-term restrictions on certain types of employment, the court made it clear his actions were not just offensive, they were illegal. So the question is, why did Johnny Somali do all this? Some believe he was chasing fame at any cost. Others think it was a calculated strategy. Some even say it reflects deeper psychological patterns. But one thing is certain, he understood how the internet works. Outrage spreads faster than positivity, and controversy gets more clicks than kindness. At his peak, Johnny Somali had thousands of followers, millions of views, but today, his reputation is heavily damaged. He is known less as a creator and more as a warning. Johnny Somali's story raises important questions. Should content creators be held responsible for their actions abroad? Where is the line between entertainment and harassment? And how far is too far for views? His case has sparked global debates about ethics in live streaming, cultural respect, and legal accountability. Johnny Somali's journey teaches us something important. Fame without responsibility is dangerous, because in the end, the same attention that makes you famous can also destroy you. From a small YouTuber to one of the most controversial streamers in the world, Johnny Somali's story is unforgettable, but not for the reasons he might have hoped. So what do you think? Was this all part of a plan? Or a series of reckless decisions? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories like this.